יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם. Shalom Chaverim, Shalom everyone. Be'ezrat Hashem, we are going to study today at the Parashat of Noah. Lech Lecha, just a little bit. Small particle, as we're saying, a crumb from the figure called Avram, later on Avraham. He is the father of our nation. He is patriarch. Today they do an agreement, a peace agreement between Arab countries, and they call it the agreement of Avraham, or the peace between the children of Avraham, the children of Yitzchak and Ishmael. Anyways, Avraham is in the headline lately. We'll try to understand why Hashem chooses Avraham Avinu above all other important figures I believe lived in his generation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Just put yourself right now on mute, and you can always unmute and ask the questions. So on behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank the host of this shiur, which is myself. Thank you. I want to wish all the participants all the best, good life. Maybe you be safe from corona and any other disease. Hashem give you a baracha and atzlacha with everything you do. Amen. This Shabbat we're going to read about the commitment of Hashem to Avraham Avinu, that he should go, he should leave his land, his homeland, his own house, and go to a place which Hashem will show him, and Hashem will promise him to become a great nation, as it says, "Ve'ascha legoy gadol," make you as a great nation, and "Avachecha," give you a blessing, "Agadaleh shemcha," I will make your name great, "Ve'hyeh baracha," you will be a blessing, and one of the most famous pesukim verses in the Tanakh, the Bible, "Va'avarcha mevarchecha umkalilecha," or I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. "V'nivrechu becha kol mishpachot adama," and all the nation, all the goyim will be blessed because of you, thanks to you. This is the first test of Avraham Avinu. How old is he? He's 75 years old. It's the first time he got a message from Hashem. It's the first time that Hashem is connecting with him directly, meaning that Avraham Avinu is preaching for so many years about God and only God and one God, and Hashem is not even talking to him. Midrash says that at the age of 3, it was 3 years old, he started to wonder who is stronger, who is greater. He thought it's the sun, and then the sun went down. Then he thought it's the moon, then the moon disappeared and the sun again. So he found out that there's a supreme power that Rambam says by the age of 40, he came to a final conclusion very strongly that God is the only one, is the only power, and ever since he was preaching. So quick calculation for before, but let's say according to Rambam, 35 years is teaching the 7 universal laws and the right way, and he has to fight with people that worshipping idols all over. He is the only one. He called Avraham Ha-Ivri, meaning the Hebrew, but Ivri means from the other side, Me'ever. A whole world is on one side and he is on the other side. He is the only one with that belief in his household. Even his father is selling for his living idols in his store, as the Midrash teaches us. Were there more people that believe in one God? Of course. It was Shem, the son of Noah, and Ever, and some more tzaddikim. But they didn't act like Avraham Avinu, going out preaching and teaching about Hashem greatness, about the laws. You should not steal, you should not kill. Even, remember last week we learned about you should not steal. There's so many laws under it, under this category. And Avraham Avinu is all by himself. He's going from place to place, village to village, city to city, and actually he's challenging one great figure that lived in his generation, and it was Nimrod. Nimrod controlled the world. Everybody worshipped Nimrod. Anyways, at some point, at the age of 75, that's not young man. Today, Baruch Hashem, it's not very old. I read an article the other day about the ages comparing to nowadays and back then, saying more or less people live more or less same ages. People died at the age of average 80, 90. Only very, very special people like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and some other people from the non-Jews survived the age of 140 and up, and up to 180 that we know is Yitzchak. Anyways, so he got, Avraham Avinu, he got a message from Hashem. He has to leave. And that was the first test out of 10 tests that Hashem tested Avraham. And then he says, Avraham, you are the one. He gave him, after that, blessed him with Yitzchak, and then Yitzchak, Yaakov, and we came all from this lineage. So, first question you should ask, and I'm really curious, I don't understand why you're not asking me, is what kind of a test it is? What kind of a test is it? Hashem is telling a person to live and to go to the unknown. Okay, he doesn't know where to go. I understand. He has a family. He goes with people around him. Fine. But they give him so many promises. I'll make you great. Everybody will bless thanks to you. I'll make your name great. You'll be blessing. Those who bless you are blessed. Those who curse you are cursed. Woo! If Hashem said that to me, to you, you probably move already. So I don't know where I'm going. Okay, Hashem, along the way, will show me the place. But with so many promises, why? I'll even think twice. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol niyo bidvaro. So, this is a question that was answered by the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. Or HaChaim HaKadosh asked the question and he answered. We can understand and answer that question by raising another question. In the verses in the Torah, and now you have to know a little bit Hebrew, not very much, a little bit Hebrew. That's the difference between Hebrew or Leshon HaKodesh, your holy language, to versus any other language. For example, English. For example, what I mean, it says in the Torah, Vayomer Hashem el Avraham, and Hashem said to Avraham, Vayomer, Amar, said. And then when Avraham did what Hashem asked him to do, the Torah states, kind of like testify about Avraham, Vayas Avraham, and Avraham did, Vayas Avraham, Kasher Diber Elav Hashem, as Hashem has spoken to him. The question here is, why, if you look at the Hebrew text, you see once at the beginning, when Hashem told him, it says Vayomer, and when Avraham did, the Torah says, he did as Hashem spoke and Diber. Why once the Torah says Vayomer and one Diber? If I translate it to English, it'll be, and Hashem told him, and Avraham did as he was spoken to. You don't really get that there is something in there. The difference between the Bible language and any other language is that the Bible language has no synonym. Okay, every word means something else on a different level. So what happens here? The Or HaChaim HaKadosh says that there is a difference between Vayomer and Vayedaber. If I say Vayomer and he told him, Vayedaber and he told him, it sounds the same. No. Or HaChaim HaKadosh, the Holy Or HaChaim, says that the difference between the two is Vayomer, it's a soft words. Vaidaber, hard, judgment, spoken. What's the difference? As it says in Parashat Yitro, in the Parashat of Yitro, Ko Tomar lebet Yaakov. Hashem is instructing Moshe to say lomar, to say softer. When you speak to the women with instruction, the mitzvot, be soft, be gentle. When Hashem wants him to speak to the people of Israel, vetaged, speak, daber, strongly. How is that related to the question we asked? Meaning, when the idea behind it, the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says the following. When Hashem said to Abraham to go to the land of Canaan, by the way, he didn't tell him Canaan, but he went that direction, Hashem talked with him softly, nicely, soft words, and this is why he gave him all the promises. But the Torah testified about Avraham Avinu that he did it for the sake of heaven, Leshem Shamayim. It was not biased. He said, Hashem, whether you give me these promises or not, I don't need to be bribed. I'm not bribed. I do it just because you asked me. Just for the sake of the mitzvah. Just for the sake of following you, following your commandment, following your instructions, following your words. There is no need to give me all that. Of course, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to get that. But regardless, if along the way I do mistakes, I've sinned, and you decide not to give me all these promises, I'm still going to do it. So, we learn from here that Avraham Avinu did it for the sake of heaven, regardless of all the promises, only because Hashem had commanded him. This is why it says, and Avraham did as Hashem spoken to him. Diber, hard, meaning no gifts for no reward. There is no need to get anything out of it. Don't promise me. Don't soft me with words. Okay? He just heard what Hashem says and he followed it. And we learn from that, and we got from here an answer for the first question. Why? Because this is the big test. Of course, it's not a test when you get so many promises. But if you know that you give up, says Hashem, I don't need this. I'm going to do it, regardless. You don't need these promises. Meaning, I'm not doing it for my own benefits. I'm not looking for any reward. Here, in this point, Abraham showed his true love without being biased to Hashem. And this is why it becomes one of the 10 tests. This is the first one. He's going to do it regardless. I'm not going to give up. Tomorrow you'll tell me that I'm not worthy to all these promises. You gave it to someone else. It's still good. It's still okay. I'm going to do it. And Avraham Avinu actually proving that all the way. The Torah, starting with the word that Hashem saying to Avraham Avinu, Lech Lecha, you should go, you should walk. Lech Lecha, go, walk, for you, for your own good. If you listen to me, you follow my direction, you're doing a great favor to yourself. The Chachmei Musar teaching us that this is a sign for a Jew in his life today, 2020, that a Jew, human being, a person, doesn't matter, always have to be in a state of going, moving, not standing in one place, at one spot. If you been asked, how do you feel? Same old, everything the same. No, you're in decline. You're going down. You feel you are stable? No, it's not a good situation for you. A person has always need to be in incline, always yearning to go up, to do something else better in his life, not to be at the same place ever. Spiritually, of course, we're talking, not necessarily maintaining the same job, getting the same salary. That's not the main idea here. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Ben Ish Chai brings a story about a person that he had a dream, and in his dream he see the king walking up the ladder. The ladder has 100 stages, and he saw the king going all the way to the 50th, and then he stopped. The very next day, he is going to the king. He wants to tell him about it. He's excited. They get him in. Ma? Can I hear someone ask a question? Okay, I'm sorry. So, he's happy. He's telling, please put yourself on mute. I hear myself twice. So, he's telling the king, oh, I saw you in a dream, and you're walking up the ladder all the way to the 50th part, and you stopped. The king was so excited. And then he told the servant, take this guy and give him 50 golden coins. Wow! He went home happy. His neighbor here, what happened? He says, tell me what happened. He told him the story. And I told him the letter, 150. He gave me 50 coins. What? The very next day, he goes to the king, the neighbor, and he says, oh, I had a dream about you, that you're going up the ladder all the way to the 100, to the top. And the king told the servant, take this stick and hit him on the head, kick him out of my palace. So this guy had the chance to just turn and says, but why? Why the other guy, my neighbor, you gave him 50 golden coin, and me, and I had a dream all the way to the 100, and you kicked me out? He told them, there's a big difference between the two of you, because I gave your neighbor a 50 golden coin because when he had a dream and he saw me going to the 50, meaning I have still where to go. But you put me all the way to the top. From that point, I can only go down. It's a very bad dream. This is how you appreciate me? So what do you think about me? Boom, kick him out. Yosef Chaim Ben Ish Chai says that if we always feel that we are in the middle of our actions, of what we're doing spiritually, and even in the Gashmiut, in the physical life, we always have a place, a room to grow. This is the main idea. Always feel that you always have a place to go up in life, in everything in life. Otherwise, people, fall down to depression and some other issue problems because they believe that this is it. What they had, what they're able to achieve in their life, this is it. And this is a big mistake. And this is the first lesson we can learn from Avraham Avinu. Well, as we said, Avraham Avinu is not young. He is 75 years old. Going with his journey to the unknown. He's not alone. He's living with his Sarai, his wife, Lot, his brother's son, his nephew, all his property, belonging, everything he had. V'chol hanefesh asher asu b'Haran. All the souls they created, they make in Haran. But they don't even own the soul. He is in his world are childless. They taught them Torah. They taught them the 7 universal laws. They taught them about Hashem. And they consider as their own children, like they created them, they make them. We learn from him a great lesson. If you teach your fellow friends Torah, or his son, is considered as if he's your son. And all the benefits of his mitzvot, because of you taught him. I'm sorry? Hello? I thought someone asked a question. Okay. if someone wants to ask a question, please speak clearly so I understand what you're saying. So they're going to the unknown. Imagine to yourself, it's not like today. You're walking from place to place, city to city, you see roads, you see houses, you see highway, you see buildings, and you see high-rises. Back then, even you see pictures from 100 years ago, or drawing, you see Yerushalayim is empty all around it. Hebron, mountains, desert all over, and one city over there. Mountains, desert all over, and another village over there. Abraham is going from his land to an unknown place. He has responsibility, and I believe people ask him, where are we going? Should we camp here? Where are we camping tomorrow? What's the plan? Nothing. A lot of people is going with him and following Avraham Avinu. They believed in him. The question is, why Hashem didn't tell him? Listen, now you point A, you're going to point B. This is where you should go. And that's it. Why to hide it from him? What's the idea with not telling him? Isn't it hard enough to leave your homeland, where you're born, your family, people that you know, people that you feel comfortable around? It's not hard enough that Hashem is hiding him from him the destination. Obviously, there is a reason behind it. Hashem is doing everything for a good reason. So we would think that in order to ease him, his life, his journey, Hashem would tell him. So this question was raised in Yalkut Shimoni, the book Yalkut Shimoni. And it says, Velama lo gilalo, and why Hashem didn't tell him. We didn't discover why Hashem hid it from him. Why? Because, I read it in Hebrew and translate Bezrat Hashem, Kedei lehabeva be'enav. So this journey, this mission, this mitzvah will be found favor in the eyes of Avraham Avinu. Veliten lo sachar kol pesi'ah u'pesi'ah, and to give him a reward for every step he makes. When you do a mitzvah, when it's the hardest the mitzvah, the greatest is the reward. Avraham was wondering for sure, where am I going? Should I camp here? Should I stop here? Why Hashem is not talking to me? I got a message a few days ago. What's going on? Should I continue? But he's keep moving. Keep on moving. And Hashem gave him a greater reward for going and moving with all the people, with all the questions they raises. The hardest, the journey, the greatest is the reward. This is another test that Hashem is testing. Hashem, among these 10 tests, there is a daily test that we've been tested every day, by the way. Obviously, Hashem wants to discover or to tell Avraham Avinu where he goes. But the nisayon, the mission, will be easier. But now it becomes harder. And the sachar, the reward, is much greater. When we saw what all the blessing that Hashem actually gave to Avraham Avinu. So also with us, not once, when we try to walk at the right path, the path of Torah, fearing God, loving God, we stumble into many obstacles, and we have to jump through a lot of hoops on a daily basis, and we have doubts to do or not to do, and what's going to be the end, and what's waiting us at the end of the process. We should know that this is just another test. It's a journey. Each and every one of us has his own journey. Looking around, it's not going to help you to compare yourself to other people. You have your own journey, and you have to make efforts to do it the right way, the best way you can. Because at the end of this journey, you'll be, as Hashem told Avraham Avinu, you start a journey to the land I will show you. Eventually we all get to this promised land. Each and every one of us has his own promised land, his own place to be. If we do that, the words of Veheye Bracha, you should be blessed, will rest upon us, teaching us that it's not always what we think should be the way to success. Oh, I'm running out of time. Okay, so guys, I just got a message that I don't know if this broadcast will stop in 10 minutes. I have more to share. I will continue on Facebook. So it's right now, right, by the way, I'm running live on Facebook. So in case Zoom is out, I'm continuing in Facebook. Many times we think things should be a certain way. It went south. It didn't go the way we liked it, and we're very disappointed. But this is the right way for us. We make all efforts to go a certain way. Hashem wants differently. We should trust Him. Like Avraham Avinu. There's a story, true story, about a shamash of Bet Knesset. Shamash is the rabbi's deputy, okay, helper, and he was helping out with many things. The only thing was problem with him. He didn't know how to read and write. At some point, the board of the shul had decided that he has to prepare reports on the shul's activity, the synagogue activities, and therefore he must learn to read and write. Otherwise, he will be laid off from his job. They'll have to fire him. Well, this guy was not a young man. He tried. Couldn't really bear the heaviness, the learning, the study. It was too hard for him. So, with a great sorrow, he makes all the efforts. He had to leave his job. So, days later, he decided that he has to find a job. He has to get another job. So he tried a small business with selling lumber, selling woods. Back then, they used woods a little bit more than what we use today. Not only to build houses, but also for fire, for cooking. Much more use of wood than probably today. So, on a daily basis, he got such a great blessing. Everything he did succeeded. He was selling a certain amount, selling for more. He got the great sources, great suppliers. In a few years, he became the greatest suppliers in his city. Years later, he grew up to become #1 lumber seller in his country. One of the countries near his where he lived wants to buy from him directly. So the Minister of Treasury set up a meeting with him. They closed a great deal, and he was supposed to sign the contract. That this guy, when he was about to when he was ready to sign the contract, he took the pen and says, "Please give me the ink." So he put his thumb on the ink, and this is how he signed on the contract. So the Minister of Treasury couldn't help and says, "What's going on here? You don't sign with your thumb? You don't know how to read and write? Are you kidding me?" they were good friends, so they can talk like that. So he told them, he smiled, this rich man, the merchant. He says, you know what? If I knew how to read and write, I would probably be today the rabbi's deputy. But things that I'm not now become the richest man in my country. I have a great business. You should not learn from here not to read and not to write. But sometimes people can get frustrated, get disappointed. I really tried harder, and Hashem, you're not helping me. I lose my job. What did I do wrong? But Hashem has different plans for you and different plans for other people. You can do only so much. You make your efforts. If it's good for you, Hashem will help you out. If it's not, He will direct you a different way. I would like to share a nice story about Rabbi Nachum Michernovil. We know that Avraham Avinu became a great host. It was well known with the great mitzvah of Hachnasat Horchim, hosting people on a daily basis. Such a great figure. He started this mitzvah many years prior to this journey, the first journey of Lech Lecha in our Parashat, that he has to go from where he lives to a land of Canaan to be Israel. Why Hashem have him go such a journey? This is the reward to give to a person that hosting people on his expense, working hard, buying food, and Hashem will make him go through all these troubles. So Reb Nachum in Chernobyl, that we mentioned before, one of the greatest mitzvot he had, he redeemed people. He paid out to get prisoners from prison. Jews. He used to collect money and go from places to places in Russia to get people out of jail. And he goes from villages to cities collecting money, and this is how he was able to pay out or even sometimes to bribe the police, whoever needs it, to release people from prison. One time when he was on his journey, he got to the city of Zhytomyr, something like that. The non-Jew of that city had a plot against him, lying. He was caught by the police and was thrown to jail. One of the rabbis, one of the great people of the community of that city, found out, and he came to visit Reb Nachum in the jail. And he explained to him the pasuk, the verses that it says, Lech Lecha me'artzecha. He told him Avraham Avinu was number one in hosting people, mitzvah of feeding people. And all his life, he looked for new ways to respect his guests. And Hashem told him, you should leave your place. You should leave your house. Go to another place. And only after you do that, you'll know the true meaning of helping travelers, helping guests. You have to go through that experience yourself. You want to do the mitzvah to the highest level? Not from your comfort zone. Also, you, Reb Nachum, your mitzvah is to save people from jail. Hashem wants you to go through this journey. Now you feel what it feels like. Now you're going to make probably an extra effort. You have such an experience. Everything in our life, it happens for a reason. Obviously, the great rewards is to come. I want to share with you maybe two more points for today. There is story in the Parashat that Hashem is taking Avraham Avinu, and it says Vayotze oto achutza. Hashem took him out. Mefarshim says, commentary says that Hashem took him out of his mazal, of his perspective, and told him, look up to the shamayim, to the sky. Can you count the stars? If you can't, this is the amount of your descendants, of your children. Okay. So, I'm sorry, we just left Zoom. Continue from here, from this point. Now, we're talking about Hashem is giving more promises to Avraham Avinu. Everyone has his own zodiac symbol, sign. People have zodiac's map, and they tell you what's going to happen in your life. People are spending money, tons of money, to people to tell them what they should do with their life, who's going to be their father, the husband, they should be, what kind of business they should go, if it's fit to their mazal. I hear more than once people saying, I don't think I should get married with her, with him, because it's not the zodiac's mazal doesn't really fit. It's going to be Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, people of Israel, you're above the mazal. Meaning, your mazal can be changed. It's not set in stone. This is one of the greatest differences between you to the other nations. Can other people, if they're non-Jews, can change their mazal here and there? Yes. We know that if you do mitzvot, you can get a long life. And you can get longer life. Or if you do averot, sins, your life can be shortened according to your actions. Why Hashem treated Abraham this way? Such a special treatment. You're above the mazal. Don't worry. Even if in your mazal it states that you have no children, now with all that you're doing, you'll get a children. Hashem paying him midah keneged midah, measure for measure. For Avraham is going out of his way to perform so many mitzvot and to do the mitzvot, the commandment of Hashem to the highest level. Hashem says, you make such an effort, I'll make such efforts toward you. The Gemara in the tractate of Shabbat, page 156b, teach a story about Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva had a daughter that she was about to get married. Rabbi Akiva obviously had friends, many friends among the Jews and non-Jews and the non-Jews. Among the non-Jews, he had people that were expert in looking into your mazal, compare it to the weather, and compare it to the movement of the stars, and they could tell many times. There's a wisdom behind it, obviously. What will happen in the future? They came to Rabbi Akiva and they told him, just want to tell you as friends, what kind of friends, but the day your daughter got married, that day she'll die. What Rabbi Akiva can do. What he could do? Tell her not to get married. Rabbi Akiva was worried. He was very sad. When the wedding finished, everybody went to his house and his daughter came home. Back then on the walls, they had shelves inside the walls, flat wall, inside of the shelf, or holes they can put little things. She took one big, it looked like a needle. It's some type of a hair holder. Okay, when you bend the hair, put it together. So she took it out and she stuck it in this hole. And the very next morning when she woke up, she took it out. Not only this long thingy, long needle came out, also a venomous snake came out, died. She poked him in the eye. She came to her father and she said, Abba, look what happened. His father, thinking that she won't survive the night, he asked her, my dear daughter, tell me what happened. What did you do something special last night at the wedding? She said to him, Abba, I tell you, in the wedding, everybody was so busy dancing and eating. People were so excited. Nobody noticed a poor man standing out, feeling that he wants to be part of the wedding, but he can't come in. I asked him, what do you need? He told me that if he can get something to eat. I took my own big portion and I gave it to him. His father told him, mitzvah gedolah, you did such a great mitzvah. You give him a mitzvah of tzedakah. You give him a mitzvah that saved his life maybe. And it says, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. He came before his student and told them, tzedakah, the power of tzedakah can save you from death. Every one of us can change something in our mazal by doing something extra, something different. You see, that was another test for this lady, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva, a poor man. I believe more people noticed him, but ignored. She noticed, but didn't ignore. She took the time and made the effort as the bride of that night. Take the plates, the portion, and give it to him. By doing that, she did a great mitzvah. She went out of her way, and she saved her life because of that. I would conclude with one more idea from the parasha. You know, it says in the parasha that Abraham is heavy with cattle, with money, silver, gold, and it says that one of the maskilim, the reforms back then, used to challenge Jewish people, used to challenge the Orthodox rabbis. One day, one of the maskilim, the reformers, they knew Torah, but they didn't really follow it. They used the Torah to tease the rabbis, to tease those who keep Torah. He asked Rabbi Israel Mirozhin, Zecher Tzadik Lebracha, that he was his chatzer, his community was rich, and they treated the rabbi accordingly. He said to him, Rabbi, we've learned that in order to acquire Torah, one needs to eat bread with salt and drink a little bit water and sleep on the floor. How all the good things that I see here, the wealth and the righteousness, can go together? The rabbi told them, it says in the Parashat Lech Lecha, Avram was heavy with cattle and silver and gold and so forth. Why the Torah tells us that Avram needed so much silver and gold? The Torah is to testify that he was that heavy with so much wealth. What's the message behind it? The rabbi says, it says, Vayelech lemasa'av, meaning Avram has to go from place to place to preach, to convince people, to make them do teshuvah, to leave behind all the idols that they spend so much money and efforts to please and maybe to sacrifice their own children too. Now, imagine to yourself, there's two preachers, one very poor, one is very wealthy. To whom they will listen more? Obviously to the one that is more wealthy. Oh, this is a successful man. You should listen to him. What do you have to say? Come on. Get out of here. Lo bichdi, this is why it says, Ba'al ha-me'ah u ba'al ha-de'ah. Ha-ma'ah u ba'al ha-me'ah. Meaning, someone that has the power behind him, people pay attention to what he has to say more than ordinary person, mundane person. By the way, something, I will conclude with that. The Chatam Sofer says, when Avraham Avinu, Vayelech lemasav, you can find this pasuk in Genesis 13:13. Avraham Vayelech lemasav min Negev, from the desert, from the south to Bet El. And anyways, he went to there. So the pasuk there brings the places, Bet El and the Negev and the Ai. So Rashi says when he went back to all the motel or the hotel he was there, he would give or pay back his debts. Chatam Sofer says, what does that mean? Hold on. Avraham Avinu, on his journey back and forth, on his journey back, he was paying his debt. Avraham Avinu didn't pay when he stayed at hotel or motel. Now he comes back and he pays for it? Doesn't sound like an honest person. Chatam Sofer says, no. It's not, the meaning is not debt. The debt is not with money. It says, I'll tell you what happens. Every hotel Avraham was entered. A lot of people recognize Avraham. He was very famous. And he saw people playing and people talking and holding their own idols. And Avraham Avinu take advantage and he speak to them. I want to tell you a story, I want to say this, I want to say that, get his attention and start to preach there's one God. And they should leave and neglect their own fool idols. Telling them basically they're all fools, worshipping the sun, the moon, when actually Hashem created the sun and the moon. And Hashem is giving parnasah and livelihood from, I don't know, the ants to dinosaurs. All creatures, all sizes. So, after he finishes, the people ask him, excuse me, Rabbi Avram, where are you going from here? And Rabbi says, I'm going to Egypt. And they said, Rabbi, and why are you going to Egypt? And he says, because we have nothing to eat. What? The pasuk there, if you see it talks about the famine. Hashem told them, because of the famine, let's go to Egypt. So Avram was honest. We have nothing to eat. We're going to Egypt. Egypt was a place with a lot of food at the time when it was famine in Canaan. So the infidels, the kofrim, those who believes in idols, the idol worshipper says, what happened to you just a few minutes ago preached about God is helping, feeding ants to dinosaurs, all sizes, and now you have to travel? You don't trust your own God? They left it. Bye. Where is the parnasah that Hashem is giving you? You say yourself. Avraham Avinu, at this point, the Chatam Sofer has no answer. They didn't break him. They didn't take him down. But he had no answer. He said, I'll get back with you. He wrote himself the name of the hotel and put in his book to come back with an answer. When Avraham Avinu is coming back heavy with cattle and silver and gold and servants and horses and camels. Woo! You can't see the end of the line. He went to the hotel, taking the presidential suite, and then he goes to everybody that ask him, why going down to Egypt? He says, my promise, obviously, of Hashem was in Egypt. All the wealth was waiting for me in Egypt. I knew it when I got there, that I went there to collect. This is what Hashem, I didn't question God. He promised me a lot of things. Now there's a famine, there's a famine. I have to go to Egypt, I'm going to Egypt. I just went there to collect. And Abraham was blessed, and he became very, very. So when saying paying his debt, that was to answer all these idol worshiper, that what you see sometimes is not what it is. It's not the real situation. Maybe you should have a little bit more patience and trust God. At some point you'll see that Hashem will give it to you, but it depends on your trust. If you don't believe Him, you won't get it. Maybe never. What's need to be done? You need to make the extra efforts to believe in Hashem, to trust Him. He will do for me, and Hashem definitely will pay you. You know, different people, different levels. We have a different tikkun to make. We don't know what kind of rectification what kind of a mission we have in this world. Some just needed a little trust and they get it right away. Some need more. Some need to rectify, I don't know, 100 years back, few lives that you didn't ever trust Hashem. Now you have to show more efforts. So don't look at other people's journey. Abraham Avinu has his own journey, and he teaches each and every one of us on our own journey, that we should make efforts regardless, whether Hashem promise us or not, or we'll get a reward or not. There is no question in our mind that Hashem will give, and Hashem will pay, and Hashem will support, and Hashem will fulfill His promise. And even, God forbid, along the way He will not, because of our own false actions, we're still going to make efforts to do the right thing in His eyes, and then and only then we show Hashem that we trust Him. Regardless, Hashem, you give me, you don't give me, it's all about me believing in you. At that point, Hashem will pay you back. Hashem says, now you proved that you are like my son Abraham, and you deserve to be heavy with cattle, with silver, with gold, with everything you need and you want, and even more. There's much more to share. I just want to stop at this point and wish everyone all the best. God save you, all the participants, all those who hear this class. On behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, that Hashem will bless you, will give you beracha. We have more families coming, by the way, soon for treatment at the hospital with their babies, so they can do Brit Milah. We'll be glad to get a support from all of you to participate in such mitzvah. And remember, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Tzedakah will save from death. There is death around the world. There is a plague. But Hashem save and keep and watch over those who do mitzvah tzedakah. I want to wish all of us from today Shabbat Shalom. Should be blessed. Again, on behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank everybody, all those who are helping us, the Rohes family, the Medina's family, all those supporting us, the Gabai's family, Baruch Hashem, Nurin and Ron, Lior, and Safta Esther. Everybody is helping, Baruch Hashem. I want to wish you all the best. God bless you, and may we will meet only in times of joy. If you had any questions, please text me. Next week probably we'll meet back again on Tuesday at the Medina's house. Shalom, shalom, and Shavua Tov.